Grant, just a thought on what you're seeing, what you're reading out there about possibly getting back to work with the NBA, and how anxious are you to get back to work? And what do you think of something that we've seen like Disney and heading into Disney and trying to get this season going?
I'm excited. It's my rookie season, so it's my first year, and I haven't got to play playoffs yet. So it's going to be a fun time, especially if and when we get the season back. And in regards to what I've seen, I can only go off of what I've heard and know. So I just kind of go with the flow and try and respect that the organization and the NBA will do their best to make the wisest and safest decision possible. And they've done a great job of communicating with us throughout this entire period. And I'm thankful for them because it could have been a lot worse, especially with all the things that are going on right now. So they've done a great job of communicating with us, and we're just going to go with what they give us.
All right, next question.
I think they're just raising their hands through the video now because I don't know.
All right, Tom, go ahead.
Grant, you mentioned this being your rookie season and how disappointing it was to, not get a chance to play in the playoffs. I mean, how much, how much was that something that was affecting you when it looked like, obviously we still don't know for sure, but when it was looking, maybe more doubtful that the NBA might be able to come back?
It was definitely grim at one point because I was like, wow, this would have been fun, especially with this group that we have. We enjoy each other. We enjoy being around each other. We were having so much fun during the year. So it was definitely difficult to process at the time, and a certain uncertainty didn't really help. But from the get-go, they kind of reached out and let us and eased our minds, eased our everything around us, and made sure that we were protected and got us home safely. So honestly, it was difficult at first, especially when the game got canceled when I think we were in Milwaukee. But then next thing you know, weeks later, we're talking about picking the season back up. So now I'm even happier than I was before.
Okay, next question is going to be Jay King.
Grant, a lot of the talk has been about what you guys aren't able to do. Not able to go to the facilities, not able to use gyms, not able to do a lot of the things that you normally would. But how have you tried to maximize this time to kind of try to develop late in your rookie season so you'll be ready when the playoffs come back or the games come back?
Honestly, it's just more so about conditioning, staying in shape. You can improve your game, especially in times like these. So part of the reason why I came down home and went to Charlotte was because the regulations were a little bit lighter. There were less cases, as well as the weather and everything like that was able for me to be outside and do a lot. So until recently, I would just be working out and do my best to stay active and improve my ball handling, especially, and then shooting when I had a chance. And I was fortunate enough to have a basket and be able to have some lines and able to do things, and Celtics sent us workouts. So I feel like a lot of us are going to be prepared when we get back, especially no matter how soon it will be. We're going to do our best to speed it at the peak shape that we can be in and as healthy as we can be too.
Have you really been living at Kemba's place?
Yep.
And what convinced you to do that, and what has been the experience there?
Oh, it's been amazing. Just hanging out, relaxing, being able to get to know each other better, as well as work out together because we're here, we're pretty isolated on our own means, and we have the means, so we have weights and other things capable. And it was just a great decision. He actually offered it because I was debating even coming home, and I was worried because I knew I was going to be either in and out the house, working out at different places if possible, or going somewhere to at least stay active. And I was like, I have to be around grandparents. And he said, if you want, you can always stay with me. And I took him up on the offer, and I'm thankful for him in that. And for as much as I talk, I'm glad that he even considered it. So we've been just lifting together occasionally, and then he has a court outside, so we've been able to shoot and all too.
All right, next question.
Have Abby's raising her hand in the camera.
Abby?
As I'm doing my makeup. Grant, how is Kemba as a roommate? Who's the better roommate? I mean, you're just out of college, right? You had roommates in college. How is the living situation?
Oh, he's great because he's comfortable. He's very to himself. He just relaxes a lot and takes care of himself. He's not really high maintenance or anything like that. So he's a great dude. In general, he's one of the best human beings that I've met throughout this process. So he's a genuine guy. So all he does is really just relax, play games, and just watch film. Basically, do everything he can for working out too. So about all. Steve is raising his hand.
Hold on.
They're just looking at cameras right now.
Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, hey Grant, is there anybody else working out with you guys, or just you two, or?
Really, it's just us at the moment because a lot of guys are in different places. Some guys stayed in Boston, and other guys went to other places and either went home or to their families, or went to places with less regulations so that they could stay in gym access and stay in shape. So, but it's just Kemba and I right now, and we've hopefully we had a Javante offer, but Javante never came. So now it's just us two, and we've been relaxing.
But if you said you need to work on ball handling, if you guys are playing one-on-one at all, I'm guessing
we're not trying to play at all right now because especially potential of injury, and so we've been doing mainly just individual work. Basically, I'm there for rebounding for him, he's there for me, and ball handling can just be straight up. You can do 2 balls. Like we have I brought my 2 balls down from Boston, and he had 1 or 2 here, so we're just using our own, and we try our best to limit contact as much as we can, especially in these times, just to stay healthy and to get our bodies right and get our minds right as well, because you never know. A light contest is different than guarding somebody straight up and potentially rolling the ankle or something like that. So we're just being cautious.
All right. Tom, next question.
Grant, as you guys are, kind of getting ready to hopefully go back, I mean, I know you guys are, concerned about family members, that kind of thing in terms of health. And, that's part of the reason behind the social distancing. How much are you guys concerned, like, for yourselves as players, going back into presumably like some form of bubble, but, still having contact with people, kind of that whole situation?
I feel like we're all professionals, and we definitely trust not only each other, but the league, and they're going to do their best to protect us. I feel like they wouldn't ask us to come back unless they had every precaution they needed, and they're gonna keep everything clean and make sure that we're well put and able to do things that we can, as well as be understanding that guys definitely have those concerns, and they're gonna help mitigate the risk as much as possible. So I feel like for myself, at least, I know I can say that I trust not only the Celtics and what they're going to provide with our facility when it's all set and ready to go, and then same with the league when it comes to wherever we play or when we play, they're going to have every single thing locked down.
And is that something that you guys talk about together, like amongst yourselves, or is that just kind of more of like an individual thing right now?
I know I can speak for myself. We definitely, as a team, we keep in touch. We honestly text every day. We have our group chat and do our things to keep in contact and check in on each other, make sure everyone's doing staying active, and we also have Celtics have done a great job of keeping us going with lifts. We can FaceTime, go on Zoom or FaceTime, and we'll all lift together and do certain things. So at different times of the day, some people might be in different time zones depending on where you're at. So my group is definitely me, Taco, Carson, Brad, Shimmy. Like, we have a big group, so we've been going for a while.
All right. Dan Roche, next question.
Just to kind of follow that up with what Tom was saying, Grant, would you prefer to go to a place like Disney and where it's basically everyone together as a league and in quarantine, or would you, does it matter to you, or would you be okay being in different cities, a couple of different cities, or something like that?
I think that the league has definitely gone through every scenario. I think when you have multiple locations, bring in more risk because you kind of are balancing everything in different spectrums. So having Disney, having everyone there, there's enough space for everyone. There's hotel rooms. There's also the gym space that we could need and the time. So, and it's also nice weather, especially. So you get to kind of do your thing and be comfortable around each other. And in regards to the location of Disney, like it's a pretty relaxing place. So you might be able to actually enjoy yourself even with being alone, depending on how they put everything together. So we don't really know the terms and details, even if we're going to Disney, not yet. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks, when Adam especially makes a decision, we can really pinpoint how the league will work out.
Do you have any rides of preference or anything if you were going to Disney?
If I was at Disney, oh sheesh, I'm a kiddie guy, so I love when we were in Orlando, to the Star Wars exhibit, everything like that over there. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome, thank you.
Gary raised his hand. I know I saw that pretty quick.
All right, Gary, go ahead.
Hey, Grant, did you officially graduate, like participate in ceremony from the University of Tennessee?
I actually was. So I actually graduated in 3 years, and I was able to do ceremonies and everything like that. So this would have been my class. So it definitely is difficult seeing all my friends and having to go through what they're going through right now. And I've actually communicated with them a lot, just giving words of advice, especially it's kind of similar how 08 was when they're going to a workforce where it's kind of, they're unsure what's going on. So I'm trying my best to not only keep their minds right, but show that they're not in this alone. So, and I know Tennessee did a great job of making sure that everyone felt as if they had that graduation. They were allowing people to take pictures on campus and other things, as well as they had those class drop-ins like I did at one point. I did 2 or 3 classes. I dropped in with our family health and science department, as well as one of our ball leaders classes. So I know that they've done their best, especially it's a difficult time for universities right now and students. So all I can say is that hope to give words of wisdom and courage for moving forward.
Have you been able to pick up, I mean, you're a guy who likes games. Have you been able to pick up a new hobby, a new game, something that you've done over the last 2 months? Because you can't just all ball, and I'm sure you've read, I'm sure you've binge watched shows. What have you done to keep your time occupied?
Honestly, I've done a lot. Honestly, I've tried to stay active. I picked up that mentor type program with my kids. I actually have a call with them right after I get off of you guys, and trying to keep them engaged and their minds flowing because they're in Boston right now and on their own, not being able to see friends and stuff. So I'm trying to give them light in times of darkness, and then also just I've done a lot of cards games because Kemba enjoys cards, as well as like I've learned how to play Dominion because Mike Zarin, our GM, assistant AGM, is he plays that occasionally or plays that. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick it up too. So actually, I've been playing that on my laptop or iPad all the time. And honestly, I've just whatever been suggested. I have spades on my phone, Uno on my phone, chess on my phone. I can go down the list, and also video games. I've been playing Call of Duty and occupy my time with basketball too. So film and trying to stay active and FaceTime my family, trying to keep in touch.
You were born the year that The Last Dance ends, 98. Mm-hmm. Did you watch it, and were you kind of like, to see the NBA happen before you were born, were you kind of tripping about that? What did you think of that?
I thought it was really, really fun to actually see film and see the type of lifestyle that not only Michael Jordan lived, but the Bulls did at the time, before social media, before all the things that we have now. And they were rock stars. They were talents. They were guys who, like, I didn't even know Dennis Rodman dated Madonna and Carmelo Electra. Like, that all threw me off. So I was like, this dude here, man, is crazy. And also was getting 20 rebounds every night. Going to Vegas, and I was like, wow, this is a guy that seems like he'd be a fun time to be around. And then you see guys like Scottie. I didn't realize how skilled Scottie Pippen was. Like, I didn't really know much about the league, especially I try to do my enhancement of studying the major, like, most popular guys, and Scottie kind of doesn't get that credit that he kind of deserves sometimes. So I remember the Mailman, and I remember seeing the Glove talk about Mike is the funniest thing because I've met him, and I can see that in his personality. He's a competitor, so definitely was something that kind of enlightened me on not only the 90s itself, but Michael Jordan as a person. Like he definitely said that people might hate him a lot because of the documentary and stuff like that. But I just saw a competitive guy who always wanted to win, and he's the guy that you kind of respect. And there's different ways of being that. Some guys are similar to, like I would say myself, that really love winning, competing and stuff like that, but we're more so encouraging and stuff like that. And other guys are the ones you have to get on. Like he's the guy that he's gonna get on you every single time. And that's kind of how I remember seeing Coach Barnes. He reminds me a little bit of Coach Barnes because he was always on you, not giving you anything. But then when he won, he wanted to win more. So that's why I kind of respected Mike Jordan even more.
Any final questions for Grant?
His hands raised again.
Who's?
Abby. And Mike.
All right.
And Bob.
Okay. Let's go Abby first.
Okay,
Abby?
sorry. Brian, I didn't get the whole hand raising thing below. Sorry.
That's right.
Grant, can you tell us more about the mentorship program, how you got involved with that, and kind of what that's doing? I know you mentioned you're trying to keep their spirits uplifted. What has that done for you during this time?
It's honestly been great. Like those guys, to think that I'm only like 6 years older than them is kind of weird because I'm like, it would have been kind of cool to maybe wait a couple years and I'd be able to talk a little bit more like a downward means, but it's kind of fun just to not only give them advice on how my high school experience was and how to not only to step outside of yourself, to be comfortable being different, and to also try and learn as much as possible because those guys, they might, like I was amazed by a couple of them because they have different interests, different goals in life, and I was just inspired. And also, hopefully I can do the same for them and give them some guidance as well as keep their paths aligned to successful paths in the future. So honestly, I got started with it because I reached out to my agency and asked if there's a potential of me doing something like that, especially in these times. And it was just perfect match with them. And I got to meet some great kids in the meantime. And now, hopefully in the future, when we get back to Boston and we're back to normal, we can do some things and go bowling or actually hang out in person.
I'm good.
All right. Next one is to Mike. Mike, go ahead.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for doing this, Grant. Hope you're staying safe down where you are with Kemba. Wanted to ask you if you think that, being a rookie, you have to go through a transition as it is from college to pro. Now you're going to have to probably go through that maybe transition all over again a little bit once basketball starts up. I'm wondering if you've thought about that and whether or not that might help you in terms of getting ready for basketball again.
Definitely. It kind of like you look back at my pre-draft process, it kind of reminds me of that. You're isolated on your own. You're trying to stay active, especially you're not playing live basketball much other than when you have your occasional workout. But so for example, like I'm just trying to stay active, get up early. So I've got up earlier than I had been. I remember before I was getting up at like 11, 12, maybe close to 1. I was like, maybe I should change that. So I've actually been working out early in the morning and then getting back to the rhythm of society. And it definitely helps that I'm only a year removed from that. I couldn't imagine a 15-year vet looking back and be like, I wonder what I was doing in pre-draft, like what time I was waking up to work out and stay active without having 36 minutes of game time. So definitely thankful that I'm in this process, or I've had that process pretty recently, and hopefully it pays off in the future.
Thank you.
All right, and final question for Bob.
Hey, Grant, how are you? Thank you for doing this. Hey, Grant, I noted that on your all-time University of Tennessee team, you included Bernard King and Allen Houston. Have you talked to Bernard or Allen in terms of knowing their history or anything like that? And also, if you could ask you this also, how do you frame this unbelievable situation we're in, the pandemic, and what's your way of getting through it and hope for the future? Thank you.
So really, in regards to the first question, Bernard came by when I was a junior or sophomore. I came to our Kentucky game, and I remember him to this to this day just because of what he said. He was like, "We don't lose to Kentucky," like this really goofy, like made us all laugh, but we also like inspired us to play and go beat them. So Bernard, I've actually got his contact information recently. I plan on reaching out pretty soon. But Alan, actually, I've known for a while, and he was a AGM of the Knicks, I believe, a couple like under Steve Mills. I think they just made. I think he's still there, maybe. But next thing you know, we communicate occasionally. We do our best to keep in touch, especially while I was at school. And then I try to keep in touch with a lot of those legends because they've done it before me, and it gives me a glimpse of how successful maybe I could be in the future. So I always tease and joke about like Bernard at Tennessee. I say who was a better player, Coach Barnes. He was like, Bernard would eat you out. Da, 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 da. I was like, he probably would have, but I'm just gonna keep my my balanced success to the same. And I tease with that. So I definitely respect the King of New York, and I definitely respect Allen, who was also a king in himself. I remember him shooting that shot in the Last Dance. I was like, ooh, I didn't realize Allen had it like that, but it was definitely a great momentum.
Right. Yeah.
And then in regards to the pandemic and life right now, it's definitely something in which we kind of are learning a lot about ourselves. This is something that hopefully we never face again, but if we do, we'll be prepared the next time. And I think that it's definitely difficult with especially how many people have passed away and have been affected by COVID-19. But I feel like a lot of people are kind of learning from not only the virus, but learning from being at home all the time, seeing their families, taking this time to not only enjoy the people that they've been around, but also take the step and being better for themselves. So maybe cleaning more than they used to, maybe being more cautious about doing this and that. And it's kind of going to change a lot of our mindsets moving forward. But I don't think that it'll affect maybe giving handshakes in a couple like months. I think people are going to handshake and move on and keep it moving. But people are going to be more cautious. Like people are going to get up and like do what you learned when you were younger. Wash your hands before you eat and make sure to wipe stuff down after you use it. And I think that's what we'll see change.